And we finally reached the end. My Season 8 of Death Battle review. What did I think of the most current season of Death Battle? Is it the best Death Battle season? Is it the worst? Is it somewhere in the middle? What were my favorites? What were my least favorites? Let's dive into it. So, Mickey Mouse versus King Mickey versus Yoda. What really stood out to me first off about this whole season was it was their legacy season, meaning it was the season where a lot of the heavily requested matches happened. Yoda versus King Mickey, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts player. I hear it's a really good game series. I've just never played it. I had Yoda going in this fight, and I was wrong. And, again, this is one of those things where me being wrong is fine. I didn't care. It was a cool match. I really did like it. I'll admit, I'm not sure if I like the setup of the fight, but I think it worked ultimately because like them meeting for some reason or another. They had to meet for some reason because, to challenge me, you must be a master, a king, you must be. Like, I didn't like that. And their fight was fine. I liked the little shtick of him bopping Mickey in the face. I will say that Yoda's dialogue was just literally just almost throwing lines out from the movies. I did like the end where he got killed, but he was a Force Ghost, so it was all well and good. I didn't really like the laugh it up fuzzball joke, though. I didn't like that. I will say, though, Mickey, I always like it when the character is kind of dominating in a fight for a little bit, or at least doing really well, and all of a sudden the other fighter throws out a move where they go, uh-oh, like, oh boy. I like that we'll talk about Popeye and Saitama at the end, obviously, but when Saitama throws like the continent at him, even Popeye goes like, uh-oh. I like that when Mickey happened to Mickey. The animation was pretty solid. I think there was the fact is Mickey didn't even when Mickey was frowning or whatever, the smile never left Mickey, and that was a little creepy for me. I'm not sure I liked liked it that much. The analysis was decent and their explanation was fine. For me, this was a good start. It was an 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, I know some people didn't like this fight. No one I think hated it, but I know a lot of people kind of didn't love this fight. I had a really good time with this fight. Shadow's pretty well within character. I will say also, despite the fact that the way the fight took place and set up was did not make a lot of sense. She's also well within character. She was a hothead and had a bad attitude, and the winner made sense. Like I like the whole one-upping each other. You get Shadow one-upping her, and then you get Ryuk one-upping him, and then back and forth, and Super Shadow with his rings come off, and it's just he goes to town. Ultimately, I liked it. There was a cool moment. The giant scissors coming in, him snapping the scissors, really cool. I like it. I liked it a lot. 8 out of 10 for me. The animation was honestly pretty solid for a pixel fight. Then we have Lex versus Doom. Now, this isn't as god-awful as I think a lot of people kind of make it out, but I'll admit, they just kind of show up and fight. Not all of their dialogue makes sense. There's some good moments. The death is brutal. I love the death. Most people, a lot of people, even the ones who don't love the fight that much, agree the death is really good. But I don't know. It just, something feels off. This is the second time Doom and Lex have been on this channel. Second time Lex has lost, and the second time Doom has won. And I don't know. It just felt kind of boring. I wasn't really invested in the fight. Maybe it's just because I didn't. Against other characters, against Iron Man, Lex was more interesting. Against Vader, Doom was more interesting. But against each other, they're just not that interesting. So, honestly, it's a 5 out of 10 to me. It wasn't god-awful or anything. It's just kind of average. Hiyachi versus Geese. No joke. This is for the type of fight it is, this is like a 9 out of 10 fight. For just a straight martial arts fight, this is like a barn burner kind of martial arts fight. It really is. The death is brutal. Oh man, the melting of lava only to come out and then melt down again. Oh, that was messed up. I loved it. They all, again, they seem in character. The whole idea that it's taking place in like a tournament setting makes sense to me. The boomstick, just killing Hiyachi killing his son joke, made me laugh. So I mean, I liked it. It's a 9 out of 10. So far, it's been a pretty solid season so far. Blake versus Mishra. No, sorry, is that not Mishra? Is it? No, yeah. Oh no, sorry, Mikara. He's Attack on Titan versus Ruby. Yeah, this isn't as good as some of the other. It's not as bad as Lexan versus Doom, but it's not very good. I mean, it's not that great. The animation looks nice. I'll even say this: I don't think that whole her eyes and mouth lighting up from exploding is unreasonable. Because really, if you did that to someone and there was a glowing light coming out from your abdomen out up your throat, that would actually kind of. I mean, it probably wouldn't be exactly like that, but probably wouldn't be exactly not like that. It'd probably be something akin to that. Like their animation, the animation of the fight is pretty solid. Honestly, I just don't care about these characters. I don't care about Attack on Titan. I don't watch or read it. And I don't watch Ruby. And honestly, the reason they're fighting made no sense. Like, it made zero sense. So, for me, it's a 6.5. Kung Po versus Iron Fist, again, is a freaking barn burner fight. This is your perfect fight. There's a couple little animation issues, and the Iron Fist death is a little but that's pretty much my only complaint. These guys are wet. These guys are perfectly in character. Their scenario makes sense. Poe is like, oh man, you're a Dragon Warrior too. Oh man, let's fight. Oh, Master Chief was gonna be so cool. Ha ha. Yeah, skadoosh. Like, I love it. Say, oh, you know this hold? No. Well, you're about to. He's so fast that Poe can't get him in the hold. It just, their analysis was great. This is just a great match. And it was a fun match. And it was exciting. I'm like, I really did wonder who was going to win for a while near that end. They keep you kind of guessing near the end who's going to win until his dragon eats Iron Fist dragon. Then you're like, okay, Poe's going to win this. I had Iron Fist, but you know what? Again, I don't care that the guy lost. It was a good fight. Similarly, Steven versus Star isn't as good. In fact, it's not even close to as good. But it's still a good fight. I will say that Star is very annoying, but that does seem to be within her character, and Steven is within his character as well. Although I think as a character, he escalates too quickly. But still, like, the wackiness of their abilities is really fun to watch. The analysis is whatever. Most of the time I'm not grading on analysis. There's how well they, unless they're really not going over certain things or get something wrong. As long as the analysis seems comprehensive, I don't give it that much thought. As long as the jokes are good, or at least they're trying. And this was another case where I'm like, okay, yeah, it doesn't really, I'm fine with the way that came out. And the death was pretty cool too, like the end fight there. The spider with the Gatling gun is like, never surrender! Like, 7 out of 10 fight for me. I liked it. Link versus Cloud Reduxed. This was one where, again, it's not a perfect match. There are things that don't quite add up, and there's one or two animation blips there. And it's one of those things where, stat-wise, they don't go over a lot of their stats, and it kind of hints towards who's going to win, ultimately. But you know what? Other than that, though, like a lot of people, this is a really good reinterpretation of that fight. Like, that first fight really seemed to be favoring Link over Cloud. Like, it seemed a little, not biased, but it just didn't seem like they were doing their due diligence on both sides of the fence. Here, it seemed different. Here, while Cloud clearly was holding an edge in a good portion of the fight, Link was no slouch. Link was throwing shit out there, man. The multiple Links threw Cloud for a loop. He's just as comparable as a swordsman. I can't remember the name of it, but like the giant version of Link, but ultimately Cloud won, and that's who I had a rooting for. So this is an 8 out of 10 fight. Loved it. Iron Man versus Batman is good. It's better than okay. It's good. I like the personality. Like, Iron Man and Batman are completely in character. I thought we were really, Lighta, I thought we were grown-ups here, Bruce. I like how he just calls out Batman. He's like, he knows. I know you're Bruce. Bust this. Boo. No more armor, so it's just you, man to man. Well, man to billionaire genius, playboy threat, and he just breaks Tony's arm. Like, oh man, like once it was out of the armor, Batman totally kicks his ass. Except Tony planned ahead just a little bit further, just in case. Yeah, I mean, I dig this fight quite a bit. It does have some logic issues. Like a lot of people, Batman throwing the Watchtower when the whole goal for Tony was to take the Watchtower offline. Yeah, that didn't quite add up. And the lack of Iron Man armors actually in use is a little disappointing. But really, it was just for Batman, certainly, it was going to come down pretty much to the Hellbat. I am upset they didn't use the final Batsuit. Like the final, I think it's called the final Batsuit, the multidimensional one. Multiversal one. I am upset they didn't use that one. Because in theory, it should be capable of doing just about anything that the Hellbat is capable of, minus the metabolism drain and more. So, yeah, that bothers me. That does. But otherwise, I enjoyed the fight, and the death's pretty cool. It's a pretty nice death, too. So, 7.5 out of 10. Reverse Flash versus Goku Black. This is my only 10 out of 10 fight in the entire season. This is an awesome fight. Them going into the time travel shenanigans and, but Wiz, what if time is just a construct? And him having an existential crisis. I believe that was this episode. And then just the constant rinse, repeat, death, and repeat of Reverse Flash and Goku Black is awesome. I love that. They're, again, both when the character Reverse Flash using a guy as a shield saying, excuse me, sir, I require your assistance. Then them just killing each other over again. It's like, I killed you already. And then you get the Reverse Flash means, oh, was this important? And that death, man. That death is one of the most brutal things ever put on Deathbattle. And they've done a lot of brutality. But holy crap, grinding him against the earth, he's still technically alive, and throwing him into a sun causing it to go supernova. Holy crap, is that harsh? And I loved every moment of it. This is a perfect death battle. And for these types of characters, this was great. 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10, though. Macho Man versus KoolAid Man. Like, this could have been a lot of fun. This could have been a Segatar versus Chuck Norris fight. Instead, we got something that was fun. I had fun with it. I don't agree with the outcome because they showed he could literally break glass by snapping a Slim Jim. So what was to stop him from blowing up KoolAid Man? I don't understand this. I literally don't understand the mindset here. But whatever. What I don't like is, frankly, the way they did the whole storytelling of the death battle. I honestly just didn't like it because they were telling a story, the whole story of Boomstick's dad and all that. Like, I didn't care. I like the hand animation stuff. I like the claymation stuff. That was fun, but I didn't care. So sorry, this is like only a 6 out of 10. Not terrible. I did have fun, but 6 out of 10. Dio versus Alucard, man. This is another one where I think the animation's a little off at points. But, it was so fun. It was so good to hear the Alucard voice again. Again, is it Takanada or Lanny who does it? I can't remember. But, oh, man, there's so many great moments. Oh, a real fucking bad. Like, just getting that line, having them go toe-to-toe. Ultimately, Dio won, and I was rooting Alucard, but I will say, the one thing I think Deathbattle does have a problem with, and we'll get to it in one of the next couple fights up here in just a minute, is that they have a problem with, I think, understanding things about the universe. Now, yes, technically speaking, using Schrodinger's omniscience would apparently means he can't use his other abilities. But that was the Major's theory, and the Major's theory was also that this was going to be Alucard, and he was wrong. So why is he right about that, but wrong about the other thing? That doesn't add up. And also the idea that Dio would be able to hypnotize Alucard. There's no proof on that whatsoever that Alucard could be hypnotized. He does hypnotizing too, so why? Where's the argument that works? If anything, there's arguments to reveal that he wouldn't be hypnotized when he told Ceres how to get out of Zoran's illusions. So, yeah, I don't get by that argument at all. But whatever. It's still an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Akuma versus Shao Kahn, man. This needed to be better. Right from, their analysis is fine. But right from the gate, like, it makes sense. There's a tournament going on and Akuma's looking for the strongest challenger. Okay, setup's fine. The animation, just in terms of how the models look, take out the design they used for Shao Kahn, which I'll admit was ugly as sin. But just in terms of the animation, how clean the models look, they look clean. They look good. And then you get into the actual fight, and it's just clunky and not very engaging. But there's a couple good moments there. Akuma trying to, attack only to get, reversed by Shao Kahn. There's good moments in there, sure, but it didn't really work for me, unfortunately. So 3 out of 10. Korra versus Storm, unfortunately, is another one that didn't work for me. It just the logic of why they were fighting didn't make any sense. Korra's just kind of further illustrated why I didn't like Korra. This whole, her whole attitude. There's some, the death's pretty cool, charging the shot. And they even explain that Storm could have won pretty much at any point. Going into the spirit world, seeing, flashes of previous Deathbattle combatants, her kind of having claustrophobic episode there. That was pretty fun. And, Korra doing some, the metal bending and stuff was pretty good, too. But other than that, though, they could have done more of that with, a claustrophobic episode on her part. But this is another 3 out of 10. Didn't love it. I'm actually going to skip Aizen versus Madara because it's the one I have the most to talk about. Saitama versus Popeye. 9 out of 10 fight. This was it was wacky, but in the best way possible, man. The little bits of live action blended in with the CGI been doing punching so hard you're going through different animation styles. I love the bit about, he's the Saitama throws the death punch, I can't really read that. And like I said, the continent being thrown in Popeye actually opens his eye and goes, uh-oh. I'll admit, like a lot of people, though, the CGI Popeye took a little bit getting used to. Whoa, that was not... I was just assuming he would look like he does normally, just in CGI. And then, how did you get so strong? I ate some spinach. I would have preferred at least a slower, I ate some spinach. And then this spin's Jeff, spinach. And like a lot of people, this did something that, Deathbattle should do more, is really go into character. Saitama having that inner monologue with himself about finally being able to enjoy a fight after all this time. And, thank you, weird spinach mascot. Them clashing and then him cracking up and turning into an egg. Even though he was about to enjoy it, he lost the fight. And you know what? He took a big gamble because now he is scrambled. I'm Popeye. I love that. I loved it. It was actually a real... I was interested, but I wasn't looking forward to the season finale. Because I'm like, this is weird, but whatever. This was a great season finale. So... if you guys have been paying attention to me talking about Deathbattle for any amount of time, you'll know that I had thoughts about this one. Now, I have gone on... First off, this is a 3 out of 10 overall for me. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it by any stretch of the means. And there's things I don't like about this episode, and I'm about to go into it. I don't want to turn this into a debunk video. I'm just going to give you my thoughts. And I'll give a little bit of why I think it's wrong. But, like I've been saying, I'm a Bleach fan over a Naruto fan, but I love Naruto. I love them both, but I like Bleach more. I was also rooting for Aizen in the fight. Now, if you watched my opinions on a bunch of the other Death Battles, you know that I don't care, necessarily, if the person I'm rooting for loses. I want them to win, but I don't care if they lose, necessarily. I just want it to be a good fight, and I want my character represented well. And this is only the second time Bleach has been represented on Deathbattle. Now, let me get into the things I liked very quickly. Madara's analysis is great, and that the whole timeline, plan joke that floors Wiz is look what you did to him. I'm like, that killed. That was a great joke. Best bit of humor in the season, no doubt. And, there's some bits in the eyes analysis that's good, too. The fight. What did I like about the fight? The animation on Madara when he goes in the sixth path is good. I actually thought the sprite for like that final form Aizen was pretty good, and there's some moments like near the tail end of that fight that are pretty fun. But I'm getting first and foremost, Aizen was so not in character at all in this fight. Now, take out the fact that his animation did look a little weird. He was not in this. He was not in character at all in this fight, except for when he fought Ichigo. Except for that, Aizen is never this. I mean, yeah, he's arrogant and he might throw a one-liner, but he's always calm, cool, collect, and calculating. And he's always like several steps ahead in planning. He's so out of character in this that it makes no sense. He wouldn't be just gloating all the while. He'd be analyzing. He'd even throw compliments out occasionally. Like, this was not Aizen. And beyond that, when they did the calculations, they talked about how Aizen had the power to hold 3 worlds together like the Soul King did. And they basically used, they're scaled to Earth and stuff like that. And it made me realize immediately, like, I don't think the researchers on Deathbattle understand the world of Bleach. Because, and this is like, I'm going to talk about this, and I'll talk about why their excuse for why Aizen died. I'm not going to go into the whole Genjutsu versus Soke Kugetsu thing. I'm not going to go into that. But if you understand what the world of Bleach is actually talking about, the Soul King doesn't hold 3 planets together. The Soul King holds all of reality together. He holds dimensions/universes together. The calc feats beyond that are way beyond planetary. Oh, and I forgot. I like the fact they actually gave a calc feat to Kenpachi's meteor feat. I'm so glad we do have that. But it does make you question if it's a correct calc feat because of what this. So this is why I kind of had issue with the Ichigo and Naruto one too, because I'm like, I don't think you understand the cosmology of Bleach at all. And then there's the whole issue of why Aizen lost, because the truth-seeking ores negate regeneration and kill spiritual beings, and that's just not what they do. They negate ninjutsu. That's why the Edo Tensei couldn't regenerate, because their ninjutsu was negated. And that's why the spirit couldn't come back, because the ninjutsu was negated. Now, granted, it would also mess an actual person up, but it's just because that's pure energy at that point. So, and even if that were the case, Aizen's level of power should have counteracted them with no problem, because in Bleach, it's a power struggle, and Aizen, as I kind of just said, should have been the stronger outright. So, and I'll talk about the Genjutsu thing real quick, because someone did comment on that, and I misrepresented what I meant. It's not that Aizen's too smart to get caught in the Genjutsu. It's that Aizen is too smart to be affected by a Genjutsu for any severe amount of time. Because once he got hit by Sakanade, he very quickly figured out how to get around that. Like, he very quickly just ignored that. So, and just got around that. And there's a bunch of other things I could go on, particularly the Sharingan versus Kyoka Sugetsu thing, but I'm not going to go into that because this is not a debunk video. I'm just saying, I think they really screwed the pooch on Aizen versus Madara. This could have been the season finale, and they screwed it up, I think. So this is a 3 out of 10, because there are things that aren't bad in the fight. So ultimately, my average rating was a 6 out of 9, unfortunately, because those last 3, like the Akuma, Shao Kahn, Korra versus Storm, Madara versus Aizen, brought the overall average down severely. The best, I think, though, was still Reverse Flash versus Goku Black. And then Madara versus Aizen, I think, is the worst, honestly. Because it's tied with a bunch of them, but because it got such a visceral reaction from me, that's my reaction. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. What did you think overall about this season? Let me know in the comments below, but thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back at some point. I'll be back with What If tomorrow and a bunch of other things later down the road. But I actually got to go somewhere now, so I'll catch you folks later. Have a good one.